Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just finished watching Borat's subsequent movie film, which sees Sacha Baron Cohen return to the character that gave him so much fame and infamy back in the year 2006. And with him returning 14 years later, he tackles all of society's newest controversies from the coronavirus to the various members of the 2020 election, and he does so with the amount of satirical energy and offensive humor that made him so beloved and hated by various people in 14 years ago. But in my opinion, this film is actually superior to the original in many ways. But let's get to the story, shall we? The story is 14 years after the events of the original Borat. Apparently, Borat, played once again by Sacha Baron Cohen, has brought shame to the glorious nation of Kazakhstan and is essentially treated as a massive pillar of hatred among his fellow countrymen. So what does he do to get his reputation back and to once again become the journalist that they look to? Well, he has to deliver a certain something to Mike Pence in the United States. But when the initial gift for Michael Pence ends up getting, being less alive than it normally would be, he ends up deciding to bring his daughter to Mike Pence to present her as a bride to him. And the film happens to cover several cultural differences between the Kazakhstan main characters and the Americans as the film goes through several subplots in order to get to that 90-minute mark. But when it comes down to it, the story does handle its satire and its main narrative a bit more like an actual movie in comparison to the first film, which always felt like it was going strictly for its mockumentary or, documentary style when it comes down to it. That was part of the original film's charm, but this film happens to have a mix of that and a legitimately touching relationship between Tutar, played by Maria Bakalova, and of course by Borat. Borat and Tutar actually have a really interesting relationship that actually makes for the heart of the film, while it's mixed in with all the satirical comedy and the extremely outrageous socio-cultural viewpoints that these characters have. In that Tutar is essentially treated as a little more than livestock by Borat from the beginning, and believe it or not, she's actually okay with it at the start, until she happens to find out different viewpoints of American women that actually that show the ridiculousness of the ungodly amounts of misogyny that Borat contributes. But the film always has a heart to it that basically says that Borat's ungodly misunderstanding everything around him, and that he always seems to take everything in the most wrong way possible. So the satirical nature of the film mocks Borat and his views, and the views of various people in the alt-right, but it also shows a lot of great humor and a lot of heartwarming moments for Borat and Tutar as well. So it basically feels like the movie that not only the one we need, but also the one we deserve right now. Because Sacha Baron Cohen knows which buttons to push and which subjects to tackle, and how not only to get big laughs from the audience, but also how to legitimately make us care for a character as ridiculous as Borat and for his daughter introduced in this film. And I do think Tutar is going to be remembered for a while after this film because of her energetic performance and how much her actress just completely goes for every ridiculous scene that she's in, even if most of them would feel completely humiliating. But it's a Borat movie, so what do you expect? Alongside that, the pacing is great. The cameos by Michael Pence and Rudy Giuliani, even if it was without their knowledge, make for some absolutely hilarious cameos. And even Tom Hanks shows up as himself at some point. So it definitely does have that mixed in with the general comedic tone of the film, and with how well it manages to satirize American politics. So with that, I say it's definitely a film that you should look at if you're able to have the time to do that. And Borat's subsequent movie film gets an 8 out of 10. See you next time.